Hi everyone.
Hi.
Welcome back to TVI episode 142 with guest Vittorio Angelone.
Hello, how's it going?
You've got a good name. I'm going to say that.
People have told me to change it.
For what reason?
Well,
for comedy reasons.
Partly for comedy reasons.
Is there another one?
Because you burnt bridges.
The police told you to change it when you moved it.
Just because of the allegation.
Your lawyers told you to change it.
Just change your name. And you're right in your face.
Why don't people do it? Sure, I know not to. I'm not saying this is a good tactic. If somebody does end up doing some crimes,
My dad,
are you allowed to just change your name?
My dad had to change his name.
Really?
In the 70s, yeah.
Because he'd done something bad?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, not anything that you were alluding to.
But he changed it.
He had to change it, yeah, in order to carry on working.
Oh, it's good to know that some people have thought of it before. Yeah, but anyway, I don't think you should change your name.
It was for casting. So it was when I was doing a bit of acting. They said, a casting director, if they're looking through a list for like an Irish actor, there's no way they're going to invite you.
No, that's true. I suppose it's what, they talk
you're
about.
Bad at acting.
Yeah.
They've seen your last self-tape.
Did they say change your skill set?
Yes, yeah. One or the other.
Change your career.
They told me to change my name to Joaquin Phoenix.
Okay,
But because obviously there's that famous thing about Indian names, African names on CVs that are just sort of, it's like in this country that are naturally overlooked.
Well.
I was going to say, you have the reverse one of in Ireland. They see an Italian name like
It's fucking WAP.
yeah, get out of here. But I suppose, but then I think you just back yourself and you just think,
Listen,
my name will ultimately, I will make the name worthwhile.
Yeah, you must transcend your own name.
Yes.
They've probably told a lot of famous actors to change their Engelbert Humperdinck. Oh, he did change it.
I think did he pick Engelbert Humperdinck?
Yeah.
Fucking hell, that's a real. Where'd he pull that one out of?
I think he did.
Engelbert. Because there's two though, isn't there? There's an old composer called Engelbert Humperdinck.
What are the chances of that, mate? Engelbert Humperdinck's like buses, mate.
Elton John is like Shirley Crabtree, isn't
There's
it?
something like that. It sounds mental.
Oh no, I'm thinking of Big Daddy. The wrestler.
Oh yeah, what is Oh Jesus Christ! Have you got
Elton
access
John.
to the internet over there?
Can we get that?
Can you check for two things? How many Engelbert Humperdincks are there? And two, what was Elton John's real name? It's Shirley Crabtree I think was Big Daddy.
Yeah.
But yeah, because have you watched Rocket Man?
No.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. I'm going to say that off the bat.
It wasn't great, was it?
No,
It was interesting.
It was
though.
better than the Queen one. What was that called?
Yeah.
Didn't watch that one either.
That was arguably one of the worst films I've ever seen. And I had an argument on a golf course with John Robbins about that film.
He loves Queen.
Well, he loves Queen so much that he was blinded to the film. He was going to love it regardless. And there are moments of it that are very emotive and it's very impressive, the Rami Malek's performance. But as a piece of film writing, it is dog shit.
It was dog shit.
and I found Rocket Man was the same. I found Rocket Man, they tried to do it a bit different.
Sacha Baron Cohen was involved in the first
was gonna
Queen,
be.
but he pulled out because they wouldn't go into the kind of darkness of Eddie Mercury.
Eddie Murphy.
He's like, we need more Eddie Murphy in this Queen documentary.
They wouldn't bring Eddie Mercury into it.
They wouldn't cast Eddie Murphy as
Brian May with the fucking wig.
Which
He's got the range, man.
I think they had a point personally of not making that casting decision. But
He wanted to go into his sex life and around Soho and all that.
Yeah, well, it did very
stuff.
much sort of soften what Freddie Mercury was known for outside of music, which was being an absolute fuck guy.
Fuck guy.
He loved it, mate. But it just sort of it made it feel like he was a little bit of sort of just a sort of sad little gay. You know what I mean? And actually, I found it was a bit rude to his memory.
Yeah.
But anyway, but the Rocket Man is actually a bit more. It's a more fun idea in the way they do it.
I just that video that
didn't
came
like
out. Did you of Elton John in his garden?
Oh my God, he can't really sing it. Like he's just his voice has somewhat gone, hasn't it? I know it's quite sad.
He wasn't good, was he?
No? Oh, so it's and it also whatever.
He's old as the hills. You know what I mean? I don't know. I've turned into my mum there.
Depends how old the hills are. It might be new hills.
The hills are alive.
But his voice is shot to shit. In a great singer.
That's a shot.
Paul McCartney.
Yeah, I mean McCartney. Yeah, I feel having gone back and watched Get Back.
Oh, what a documentary!
Whitney Houston.
It's the best thing I've seen in memory.
So good.
But it totally reminds you how amazing Paul McCartney is and was. But because obviously his last sort of 30 years, I think, haven't really lived up to how great he was.
Yeah. There's a conspiracy that he's been swapped.
I've read it. It's bollocks. Like they literally have photos next to this is him in 1963, this is him in 1966. Different guy. It's like, no, he's aged 3 years.
He's got grey hair there.
He's got a moustache.
This guy. He's got a new jacket on.
Do we have any? Did you find out any information?
Yeah, his real name was Reginald Kenneth Dwight.
Reginald Dwight.
That was Elton John. Yeah.
Reginald Kenneth Dwight. Freddie Mercury's real name is Farrokh.
Yes.
Bulsara.
But yeah.
That's why because he wouldn't have got hired in the CV.
No, he wouldn't have actually. And what was the Engelbert Humperdinck fallout?
There's definitely two.
I could only find one. Who's the other one?
Composer. Type in Engelbert Humperdinck composer.
But surely it will come back with just Engelbert Humperdinck, because he also did write his own material, I think. I don't know.
I don't even know any of his songs.
He did Release Me.
Oh, of course.
Please release me. He also did Quando, which is a great song.
I've got no idea.
He goes, tell me when will you be mine?
No, Vittorio
Tell me
Angelone. There's a guy with a moustache as well.
I didn't know you couldn't sing.
What was Engelbert Humperdinck's real name? Or was that his real name?
I think that's his real name.
Excellent.
I think that was the story. I'll try not to cough the whole way through, by the way. I'm like Doc Cotton. But he, they were saying he should change his name, but he didn't. He stuck.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
So you should stick to it, man.
Exactly. You're the Engelbert Humperdinck of comedy.
That's what I've been aiming for. I'm trying to carve out a niche for myself.
Speaking of, it's actually on topic, talking about how Elton John's voice, from watching that video, seemingly, a lot of them guys that had big voices, when they get into their 70s, whatever, obviously it's going to lose its power. But today we lost Meat Loaf. Meat Loaf has died, sadly. Breaking news. Obviously,
should we pour some out for Meat Loaf?
Yeah. Sound like a pour one out for him.
Knock one out for Meat Loaf.
Let's do it. It's what we would have wanted, guys.
We're in the Thanksgiving dinner,
but he had a voice on him, mate. I went back and actually weirdly listened to Meat Loaf on the way here, just in memory. I listened to the album "Bat Out of Hell," and then I also listened to that "I Won't Do That," the famous later song. But he had a fucking wicked voice, man. It's so big and
that's when fat lads could be rock stars.
Yeah, that is. I do think that era has gone.
Lewis Capaldi is ugly, like,
but he's a gentle soul, isn't it? I think the women would be like, oh, he seems so nice.
Yeah,
sort of. Whereas Meat Loaf was a big like fucking
everyone just want
to nosh him off and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think I don't know if you'd have that now in a big rock band.
It was good in the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Brilliant in the Rocky.
I've never seen that.
Sad.
Really?
I'm very young.
Do you know? Yeah, that's true. Actually, you are very young. A funny story. I once went to Aberdeen in Scotland.
This better be related.
And do you know what? I just think it's a lovely seaside town. No, it's I got picked up by my uncle. I was 11 years old. Ended up being a bit of a summer of love. Like I sort of got shit faced and like did loads of stuff when I was 11.
How old were you?
11. Yeah, I did sort of.
You got shit faced in Aberdeen.
Did your uncle get arrested?
No, it wasn't with him.
It
was with my cousins, right, who were a bit older. But my uncle was the most straight-laced. He worked for like customs and excise. He was a real stern Aberdonian, like proper just Scottish man, you know what I mean? And he picked me up from the airport. I travelled on my own. My parents just chucked me on the plane at one end. He was at the other end. And in the car on the drive from Aberdeen Airport to the house, he put a CD in. It was a Rocky Horror Picture Show soundtrack. And it was fucking brilliant.
You horny.
But But then I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what...
Touch me.
Yeah, I just heard these. I thought the soundtrack is amazing. So like, I just thought it was a really cool music.
Susan Sarandon.
Yeah, she's so fit in it as well. Oh my god, right? But sorry, oh my god.
Oh my god.
Just give me a
lab culture
flashback.
podcast. What's happening?
She's honestly, if you haven't seen it, check it out. Not for just for
I would
that
like
reason.
to disavow this toxic masculinity that's happening on this
Get
podcast.
out.
I want to empty it.
But anyway, long story short, he picks me up. He drives. So I'm just thinking, this doesn't feel in character, right? For my very straight laced uncle to be listening to the Rocky Horror
Wearing
Picture Show
suspenders.
soundtrack. Yeah, but it did feel like I'd uncovered some sort of like dirty secret or something. He was singing along. It turns out I asked like, of my aunt and my cousin, and they were like, "Yeah, it's his favourite film. He just listens to the soundtrack all the time when he drives." And I always logged that as being fucking weird.
Yeah.
And then I realised, literally for my 40th birthday, I went to see Les Mis, and I just now I listened to the Les Mis soundtrack, the 25th anniversary concert soundtrack. I'd say at least once a week.
It's cracking, no lame.
It's so good, but like, I've realised that I've basically judged him as a child, and now I've become the man that.
Do you like other musicals?
Not many. I don't love musicals. I like Les Mis. I like Dreamgirls.
Never.
I like
Grease.
West Side Story. I like Grease.
Grease.
I like.
What about those newer? Because I watched Encanto recently. Those
Not
Pixar
seen
music
that.
things. It's fantastic.
Okay.
Very, very good.
The one I hated the most recently, I got taken to see Come From Away, which is set on 9/11. Doesn't feel like the best day for a musical. But
They did the Diana one.
I've not watched that. Have you watched it? It looks fucking insane.
Fucking hell.
But I got taken. My mother-in-law really wanted to go see it, and she bought me and my wife tickets, and we had to go. The three of us went to see it, and it is.
Is that the one in Newfoundland?
Yes.
They have these weird accents. It's this very strange place.
Yeah, it's sort of weird,
Kind of sound
Scottish,
like me.
Canadian. Yeah. Hey, how you doing here? It's all like weird Canadian.
Did you see Les Mis in the cinema? The
No,
film?
It's the
actual-
show.
There is a film, mate, yeah?
Yeah,
It's not very good.
Ah.
They cast Russell Crowe as
A guy who could sing.
Javert, and
he-
Russell Crowe's got
he
a
rubbled.
terrible voice.
Real
Why they
bad.
dub it over?
It'd be weird if Russell Crowe opened his mouth and you had like a proper like,
Engelbert Humperdinck.
Beyonce.
but yeah, it's but no, Come From Away, like because my mother-in-law bought the tickets. I hated it from the opening number.
Yeah.
And like my wife could feel how much I was hating it. Like it's very cheesy. It's very musically.
And could you enjoy hating it? Because sometimes you're like,
I found it hard to go. I found it really hard to sit through, and it's just not my style of musical. It's very sort of. I just found it really cheesy. Whereas something like Les Mis has got a lot of grit to it.
yes.
And I know some other people who hate all musicals would be like, "Shut up, you fucking idiot! It's not Requiem for a Dream, mate." But so I sat there just with this. You know, at one point, about 20 minutes in, my wife just put her hand on my arm and leant in and went, "Are you okay?" That's how much she could tell I hated it. Like,
I went to see Cinderella, the new Andrew Lloyd Webber
is that
one,
really good?
which is just down from Top Secret, actually. And it was for my younger cousin's birthday. She'd like flown over from Dublin. It was like a big weekend over. She comes over, watch
Theatre.
Cinderella. Yeah.
Julian can't believe anyone goes to the theatre every time.
Are they still open
Was this better be a film, right?
at the flicks? The pictures.
The talkies.
Did you have it on the wireless? Or?
One of those radio plays, you know? A flip book. So we went down, and I had a nice little fact because I studied at a place that was also a drama school.
Yeah.
And I messaged my mate Danny, who I used to live with, and went, "Oh, do you know anyone who's working on Cinderella? Just if my wee cousin could meet anyone or do any of that shit." And he was like, "I'm the stage manager."
Oh, really?
On
That's
Cinderella.
lovely.
And no.
Who this?
New number, who dis?
It was like, because of COVID, you can't fucking meet anyone. But in the
God.
interval, the Cinderella lady
Come out.
recorded herself singing "Happy Birthday"
Oh, that's
to my
wow.
wee cousin. So in
How
the
lovely
interval,
of
I
her
showed
to
her.
do that.
yeah, it's nice.
Is
it any
But
good?
it's fucking shit.
Oh,
so
shame. Yeah,
She's
I've not got any interest in seeing it, but
It's cool. There's a bit where the stalls and the stage swap places.
ooh.
So it's all on a revolve.
Oh, I like that.
And we were up in the gallery or whatever, and you could see, and it was like, what the fuck? It was mad.
Good.
What, slowly moving?
Yeah, I thought
Not just suddenly.
I had like one.
85 people died.
But it was worth it for the production.
It's like Rita, Queen of Speed. It's fucking all. It's fucking
Like Moonraker.
Did you ever see?
G-Force.
Did you ever see that episode of the Simpsons where Prohibition comes back in?
Oh, yeah.
And Mose has to turn into a pet shop, and Barney gets caught in the gears of the fucking switcher, and he comes out the other side covered in oil. That was me at Cinderella.
What I was going to say, have you seen the new West Side Story? I've not seen it yet.
No, I've heard it's fantastic.
Yes, so I've heard, because I love the original West Side Story.
I was in it when I was in school.
Really?
Yeah, where we
Who
did
did you play?
I was Diesel.
Diesel.
One
of the Jets.
I had a little solo in Officer Krupke.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's a good song, actually. That's
Gee,
really
Officer
good.
Krupke, you're
Yeah,
really
that's a
swell.
great track.
Yeah, so good.
Was it a proper stage score? Yeah.
Was it? Was it? Are you talking about
so
films?
bad.
It's a film.
I was in the film.
On the wireless.
Every time.
And wait, let me get this straight. People are going to the...
Somebody who performs on stage, Julian has almost an inability to believe anyone's ever done anything on stage.
Where's the gags, folks? Come on. All this knife crime stuff.
But yeah, what did you study?
I studied classical percussion.
Right.
Yeah,
Did you ever think of going into the orchestra?
I've played with a couple orchestras and I've done the proms a couple times.
What sort of percussion?
Xylophones, triangles, timpani.
These things, shake them.
Yeah, anything.
What are they called?
Anything you fucking...
What are they called?
Dicks.
They're the things that they go up like that and you shake.
Maracas.
Yeah, maraca.
yeah.
I've done maracas.
I didn't know that's actually a real thing that was in a.
And the round one.
Well, in West Side Story, you have to do all the...
Of course, yeah.
What, for the dance flight?
Yeah. What's that one you shake?
The guiro?
Is that what it is?
No, that's not a guiro. That's a cabasa. Fuck, I'm gonna
Cabasa.
get roasted by
I remember there being one at
percussionist friends.
school I used to
You must
enjoy.
have some good rhythm then.
I do, yeah, but I don't really do it anymore. I just teach kids now to keep the old rent ticking over.
Yeah.
I teach African drumming in primary school
Really?
in East
Yeah,
London.
yeah.
That's cool.
So many of the kids are African.
Yeah.
It's cultural appropriation.
You're coming along and teaching
I'm
them.
like, hey, Dikembe, you're doing it wrong.
Their parents just writing letters going, I want a different teacher. Like, rhythms all over the shop.
He's dancing, but he's not moving his arms. It's fucking bizarre.
What is that, like bongos and stuff?
Djembe is Ghanaian, the drums that I teach
Ah.
generally, but I teach a bit of kit.
What does that drum look like?
So you'll have seen it, the one with like the ropes on the side.
Yeah.
and then it
One
goes
big
chicken on
one.
top.
Yeah, it's not got a couple of them.
Yeah.
That's cool. They
And
sound
then
really
different
good.
parts is different tones.
Yeah. Oh, do you want a djembe?
All hands, different fingers. How does it work?
All hands.
No, so is it you're always hitting it with your hands, or is there any fingery bits?
Pretty much all hands
All
for the
hands,
djembe. Yeah.
right.
Should've brought
Bongos
it.
is a bit more finger.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
loved
yeah.
a demo. That would have been cool.
Should I teach you guys percussion one day?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Fine.
I'd like to see that work. Have you got good rhythm?
I have actually, yeah.
Do you play any instruments?
I used to play rhythm guitar.
Have you ever played
That
the
just means you
guitar
weren't that
island,
good at
you?
guitar.
I do, yeah.
Oh, cool.
Well, sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. It's I've been playing more guitar in the last probably 2 years.
I've never managed the guitar, and I really want to learn it because it's so much cool. I can play like the mandolin, the banjo, but no one just.
I mean,
has
you
one of
could
See,
those
I'd love to be able to
guitars.
play the banjo. I think the banjo is a lovely instrument.
Yes, but no one has it. Like if you're at a party or whatever, no one's like, "I've got this banjo."
And you want to bust out the banjo? 4 a.m. Everyone's on
Ding
coke.
ding 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 ding.
When I'm cleaning windows.
Everyone's just doing lines of the table. Oh man, yeah. Because I played guitar when I was like 18 to 25, and then hardly touched it for years. And the last couple of years, I've picked it up again. I love it.
I have a little go of it every now and then. Yeah, in lockdown, I got into it a little
Yeah.
bit. Yeah, I've lost sight. Like I can't play it properly though.
Right,
I can only play
I
a
do
horse
get
with
well
no name.
rusty.
a horse with no name.
Yeah, because it's 2 chords:
That's yeah.
What
E minor,
chords?
A major. Crack on.
Easy.
Sorted. I can play Wonderwall.
Everyone can play Wonder
I know.
One man.
Yeah,
What else can I play? Stairway to Heaven.
I can play Stairway to
that's a
Heaven.
pick one, isn't it? Yeah, I can't.
That's one of the sort of first sort of picky ones that you learn
You
when
get
you
kicked
start
out of-
actually getting like a feel for
You
it.
get kicked out of guitar shops for playing.
That's that
that.
old-
Same as
joke.
Wonderwall, this band, isn't it?
I think so.
On
Yeah.
Denmark Street.
I love that. Just fuck, get out.
Get out of
Do you
it.
reckon
There must be new ones that they've brought in that like you're not allowed to play. Some
It's because
Ed
it's so
Sheeran shit or
simple and
something.
so effective, though, isn't it? It's a really good chord progression.
Yeah. It's very easy, isn't it? It's nice but it sounds nice at the same time.
Yeah.
That's the trick to it, isn't it? But ultimately, whatever. What were we talking about that managed to go off on that tangent?
We spoke West Side Story, and then you asked me what I did.
So yeah, we're talking about what you
as a classical
studied.
percussionist.
But you never why didn't you want to go into that? What made you go?
I would
comedy?
be on stage as a classical percussionist in an orchestra getting paid, and I would look out into the audience, so people come and would watch the show.
Oh, okay.
Right, yeah. And then
in a theatre.
On the tube. Or
I would be on stage and I would look into the audience and be like, I don't know why any of you are here, because there's no way I would pay to see this. I would never pay to go see it. But I was paying to go to comedy clubs and theatre shows and all that stuff. So I was like, well, if I'm going to perform, I should do the thing that I want to consume.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. That is. I once went to a classical concert in Budapest.
Do you remember what they played?
Not massively, but it was like we were just in Budapest, and it was like a night. We went to like their sort of major music hall, and we were in town for a few days, and it was very.
shit.
It was impressive, obviously, watching the musicians, but I will say it dragged.
It's long, yeah.
It's a long old, because you're sitting down basically just the whole time, just watching.
Yeah.
And actually, I just realised, no, I need something. I need more.
A bit more engaging.
Going on.
My cousin's the conductor of the Tasmanian Orchestra.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've never understood what
I don't
they
know
do.
if they still are, but
I mean, you could probably explain to us
What they
I
do
did-
is
I
get
conduct-
paid so much.
yeah.
Well, that's it. But like, I know,
Like 20
obviously-
times what any of the musicians are getting paid.
And I know, but I know they're sort of telling like, you go now, and the tempo and that. But surely the orchestra could work that out on their own.
For sure, there's stories. There's stories of generally these days, because funding's so bad, an orchestra will rehearse maximum about 5 days for a concert.
Yeah.
Because they've all played most of the pieces before, and they're such exceptional musicians. They can just like sight read it basically. Like they'll get it right first time. Basically. It's just. The concept of conductor is like unifying the artistic ideas of like the 80-100 people on.
Yeah. Cool.
They're overpaid though, aren't they?
Oh my god, it's insane. But sometimes there's stories of a conductor will really piss off the orchestra over the course of the week of rehearsal process. Really, really annoy them. They'll come to concert day and it's the conductor's first concert with that orchestra. They'll go out, the conductor will go, and nothing will happen. And the leader stands up and goes, and that's what a conductor sounds like. Sits down.
Oh, cold, man. I love it.
So good, isn't it?
Yeah.
I used to get in real battles with conductors. They would
Right.
really fuck me off a lot.
Why?
I had to do it once when I was a little kid. They gave me the stick and I had to do. I didn't know what I was doing, but obviously they were all playing.
Yeah.
It was just like, but I'm just going like that. It was a proper big orchestra.
That's
It's quite-
fucking-
Where
only
was
for-
that?
It's just my school went to see like an orchestra.
Yeah.
And I was just sitting at the front, and the guy just said, "Do you want to go?"
Yeah.
And I just had to go like that. And he said, and then one of them, they were just playing a bit because I was at about 9
Yeah.
in primary school, and one of them stopped playing, and he said, and I had to go like that to them.
Okay.
And then they
That's
carried
great.
on. It
Oh,
was
that's
quite
nice.
good. Yeah,
That's lovely.
it was beautiful.
Have you ever thought about doing music in your comedy?
No, people ask me this all the time. I fucking hate carrying stuff.
Yeah, there is that, isn't it? The hassle. I remember doing one Edinburgh show that involved playing guitar at the end, and it was a joke, but it was necessary. And just carrying my guitar there and back every day was. I lived around the corner from the venue, that Fringe, but I found it embarrassing walking down the street with a guitar.
I used to get
During the
embarrassed.
Fringe?
Weird,
It's
isn't
like
it?
the
Yeah.
least
People
embarrassing
people
thing.
can look into your life just in the street.
You expect somebody to go like, ooh, just for no reason.
Thinks he's cool.
All right, Bob Dylan, fuck off.
You're a Bob Marley.
That comes from fucking school, doesn't it?
Totally.
Because I remember I would bring in like a violin for orchestra and be like, oh, fucking, he's cool.
No one brought a violin to my school, man. It would have been dead.
He smashed over their nut.
Yeah. If they brought a violin case, but there was not a violin inside.
We would have
It's a
robbed
machine
it.
gun.
Taken it down to the local pawn shop within about 2 minutes.
When I used to carry my guitar, I used to hold it out front, like as if someone's left. Oh, mate, mate. And like,
Walking out, excuse me, anyone drop this?
walking through a council estate like that. With my street cred.
Yeah, he's in. I mean, and actually, I remember that show I did in Edinburgh. The first couple of times I did the song at the end, I've never felt more sort of vulnerable on stage. I was terrified.
Did it ever like bomb?
No, because it was a callback to a joke earlier on. So it and
What about if that joke didn't work? You think, I've got a call back to it at the end.
But they
that
still
would have been
work.
tough. They do actually.
Because
think
I
they
like that.
do.
See, if I'm doing a setup joke that I know gets called back to, even if it's bombing, I'm like,
you lot don't know. You don't know what's coming.
This joke ain't finished.
You slugs.
there's bigger things afoot.
Just supplying some seeds over here.
Playing, what is it, 3D chess or something? What they call it.
You just activated my trap card.
Yeah. And then it bombs a second time. You're like, I call you all right, actually.
All right, fair enough. I've got nowhere else to go with that.
At least you got convictions, guys.
It's good touche, everyone.
But they don't understand why.
Have you ever done a callback and forgotten to do the build-up, the joke? Because I have an excellent one of those.
My first ever Edinburgh preview for just a half an hour. It was a split show I did with someone, and and it actually is the closer of my current show, so I won't give too much away. But basically, the callback comes at the end of a real long period of tension where I talk about Rosa Parks for like a long time.
Yeah.
And it's really tense, and I was in the middle of it, and the show had gone well, and I just see my girlfriend Izzy in the audience going,
oh, boo-boo.
And I had to just stop and go, in the middle of it, just talking about Rosa Parks, seemingly for no reason, but it was all going to make sense.
Yeah.
I just had to go, I fucked this.
Oh, no.
And I was like, basically this ends with a bit that links back to a bit that should have been earlier, but I forgot to do it earlier. So, and this is just me on stage, and they were like, someone was like, oh, do it. And I was like, and I did the old bit, went straight into the callback, and you could get a sense of the audience going, that would have been
that
really
would have been
fun.
great if you'd not fucked it, mate. It's the worst feeling.
Awful.
Because I did a show. We talked about it with Jenny Collier when we were talking about nipples. I talked about my puffy nipples. I had a show where I talked about that.
Is this the gynecomastia?
Yeah.
I got that.
Yeah, so
Nipple
I had
balls.
that. I had it really bad when I was in my teens, and I did a big routine about it and how I was sort of scared of swimming and all this bullshit. And then at the end of the show, sort of the point where at the end of it, I was like, "There's no real end to the show." I said, but I thought a funny way to wrap things up would be to show you them. And then I pulled my top off, and I got topless, right, and just like did the end of the show topless. And it's a bit of silly, like fun. Normally we get a massive response because it was so like out of the blue, but also a callback to quite a big routine. It was like the second or third preview of the show. I was in New Zealand.
You just popped your top
and
off.
I just did the whole show. Went really well, and then I just whipped my top off, and everyone's just staring at me like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And I'd forgotten to do the gynecomastia routine. There'd not been a mention of nipples
They were
before
just
that.
sat there going, "Why are nipples weird?"
Oh, not even nipple. I didn't They just it looked like I just done 55 minutes of passable stand
you're
up.
hot.
I just ripped my top off.
All right then, ladies.
It's like a fucking lunatic.
Where the pussy at?
Paul Smith has a similar thing in the tour show he just did. I saw him working it out at Hot Water. He has a big routine about a tattoo that he got.
Yeah.
And basically the audience never believes that the tattoo exists.
And then he gets it out.
And then he closes by like whipping it off and going,
Yeah.
What tattoo is it?
I can't remember. But it is Paul because he's fucking in shape now as well.
He's massive, isn't he?
Yeah.
Big boy. He's got a Lamborghini.
And the fucking Bentley as well.
So funny. To have that
Orange
Lambo.
Lamborghini.
Yeah.
Because he says like, "Oh, like I can't really afford a Lamborghini."
I think
like,
it's-
I would believe that if you just had a Lamborghini, but you've got a fucking Bentley.
yeah,
can't
yeah.
But
buy
also, I
that.
mean, like, there's
Also,
having a
you can
Lamborghini.
afford one if you've got one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Running one.
By definition.
Yeah. But I remember a guy I knew. This was years ago. Had a decent job. He was like worked in an office, like in an interior design company. Had a decent like mid-management role. So he was making good money, but he just wanted to treat himself to a really good car, and he got the newest top of the range Jaguar when it came out. and he got rid of it after about 6 months. He couldn't really afford the
petrol.
Well, like everything, like the insurance was massive. Everything was so massive that he basically realised he couldn't afford it. So I do think that's the thing with Lamborghinis, the other costs.
Yeah.
It's such a nice car he's got, and he used to play that on GTA, that exact car.
Yeah, I saw the photos. It's amazing.
He's got a photo of him in GTA standing next to it, and then a photo of him in real life.
It's amazing, really. I mean, as much as it's mad, like, it's almost like it feels like it's not real having a Lamborghini.
And he's the nicest guy.
He's a lovely guy.
Lovely, yeah.
We did the Leicester Mercury Comedian of the Year final together in 2006.
Was that before he quit leaving Liverpool?
Yeah. So I genuinely didn't know he was still going because I'd never seen him again until he started putting the videos from Hot Water up, and suddenly I was like, oh, he's still
Well, Hot
going.
Water put them up. He was
a bit reluctant to do that at first, wasn't he? Yeah, he didn't really want it.
Yeah, but it
was always a good comp. I always thought he was really good, but he only used to play there.
Yeah.
Because he just didn't want to leave. It's such a fascinating story.
Which is understandable.
Club,
yeah, I mean, in terms of like, if you've got a family and stuff, why would you want to travel the country to certain especially to certain if you're doing a tour or if you're doing just a handful of the best clubs that you like doing.
Yeah.
But but you don't want to be just going around doing all different places.
He was studying when I first met him, like psychology.
Philosophy. I think
philosophy. Yeah.
How's your access course going?
I've just got an extension on the deadline.
What are you studying?
I'm doing an access course, but it's for a law degree.
Sick.
So so I've got an extension. It's quite easy, but I don't know. It'd take about 3 hours of my time to finish it.
It's not easy if you can't do it, mate.
But it's so easy to get an extension. He keeps offering them, and I'm like,
right.
All right. And I just text him. Today was the deadline.
Right.
So I said, can I get a 10-day extension?
So do you want to be a lawyer?
Not necessarily, no.
I just imagine you.
I just want to learn and.
Yeah, I just like the thought of you in a courtroom, and it because anytime anything gets vaguely sincere or serious, you're like, bang, there's a punchline. I can just imagine the judge sentencing someone.
Absolutely throw a case under the bus just for a punchline.
I don't think I want to be a lawyer. To be honest,
but that's great to just learn for the.
I'm just in the moment with it. Yeah, I like learning. Yeah.
Because were you quite...
Not enough to do the work.
I like the idea of learning.
I like people telling me things.
Yeah.
I just really love getting extensions to stuff. It's my new hobby.
I've got no back garden left.
So every day, my hobby, I call up the gas supply. Can I get an extension on that?
I get a cock extension next semester.
He's got one plug socket in his house and it's all just...
It's so easy, though. He makes it really easy. It's like, and if you need another one, just let me know. I'm like,
surely that's... I thought it was the access course. It's meant to teach you how you're going to have to get
it
by
does.
in
It
a
takes
degree.
you really slowly into it, though. It is interesting. It is quite easy.
Yes.
And that's why I think I'm put it off a bit.
Right.
Because I'm too smart.
It's one of them students.
My face is shiny in this video.
Isn't stimulating me.
It's got quite warm in here actually.
Yeah.
Considering it's quite cold.
I've got long
out.
johns on.
Well,
like the jogging ones.
Yeah.
They're quite
like a pirate.
like Kylie Minogue.
I went out. I did a gig yesterday, and I drove, but I had to park quite far away because it was in it's right in the centre of Reading, so the nearest parking was a bit of a mission away. And
what gig was that? Just the Sonic.
It's called Stand and Deliver. But it's basically I just wore like a t-shirt and like a light sort of overshirt.
Because you were in the car.
I was in the car. I totally just didn't even think about it. And suddenly I got it was like 1 degree. I had to walk. It was fine. It was only a little walk, but people were looking at me like, "Are you mad? Like, is he a Geordie or something?" Like, did not have the layers on.
He's either a Geordie or an Eskimo.
We went to so last week. Last episode we did was the morning after my 40th birthday, and then I went on a weekend of sort of
debauchery,
festivities, and I mean I went mad. Today's the first day I feel 100% since it.
Right.
What did you do?
Just went shit like proper. It was like
Raving.
a stag do weekend, like proper pissed for two full days, and then sort of and then other things afterwards, like sort of a lot of sociable events.
A hangover's harder now.
Well, I didn't really have a hangover in like that sort of sick thing, like vomiting or anything. I just felt broken for like 4 days.
Yeah.
and I just can't do like a proper bender anymore. Do you know what I mean? Like 3 days in a row. But on the Saturday we went to the football at AFC Wimbledon. So my mates were all AFC Wimbledon fans.
Right.
And obviously we're sitting outside and it was freezing.
Yeah.
My mate Aidan, we all sat down, just took his coat off and was wearing just a shirt for the whole first half.
Some people don't feel cold.
He just
Apparently
doesn't
it's
give
a
shit.
learned thing, feeling cold.
Well, I
If
don't
you were
feel it like a
particularly-
used
guys
to.
in shorts and stuff, like when it's freezing.
But if you were-
Big guys always love a short in
Yeah.
winter,
Yeah.
innit? I've got mates who are
Cold
quite big.
breeze.
They've got
on their
built-in
balls.
coats though.
I suppose there is that.
Yeah.
But like, I always find it weird. That it's a classic look of a large chap, innit? Like a checked shirt and a sort of cargo shorts.
Yeah.
It's like the real. I don't know if like they get told, just this is what you got to wear now. You fit that size.
Maybe they feel uncomfortable.
GP
in
calls
it. Other stuff.
Give 'em here's your
effective
prescription
BMI.
for like sort
Get
of.
down Burton.
Here's your cholesterol tablets, and
Here's your Burton vouchers.
Actually, the pockets on cargo shorts are just the right size for cholesterol tablets.
But no, it's a weird. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know if that sort of is just. It's a comfort. It must be a comfort thing.
Well, apparently,
Maybe it
if
is
you
your
were
overhead,
dead
yeah.
wrapped up as a baby and they like coats and jackets and
Maybe
all
it's
that
hard
stuff,
for them
then you
to
don't-
find a look
you
they're
get used to
comfortable
that
in. They're probably
Right.
quite self-conscious, maybe.
about their body.
I suppose that's what the checked shirt is often is chosen by the sort of larger chap. So it
blends.
disguises,
Like
it's like you
stripes
never
that
wear
way,
never wear
yeah.
horizontal.
Makes you look wide.
Verticals make you look longer.
I have a real.
Paint my willy.
I paint mine like vertical just to
Like
bring
a
it down a bit.
chessboard.
Take a few inches off it. I like to.
Looks like a Dr. Seuss character.
Like a barcode. Scan this in. Do you mind if you scan this in?
Oh God.
I have a real complex about clothes. I got this real thing because I got
Because
this.
of that shirt.
Just to clarify, pre-record, this shirt has been discussed. What was
Yeah.
it? Somebody said something
It's
to
a
you
nice
about it.
shirt.
Finn Taylor said it's a camp shirt is the type of shirt that it is.
So the style of shirt is
Yes,
not
it's not
camp as in.
Gay.
Sorry,
The start of your Instagram videos.
But it's camp as in that's the style of shirt.
Yeah, the collar or something like.
Yes.
What
I
do
see
you
the
mean?
sort of.
What's the camp style?
Camp. No, but like not camp as in like flamboyant, but like camp.
The shape, I suppose, the shape of the
and it
collar.
doesn't have a top button.
It's also, is it slightly oversized?
I think so. Yeah.
Yes.
But that's a big thing for me. I was going to say I have a real complex about. I used to think when I moved to London that I was aware people thought my accent was a bit aggro, a bit whatever.
Yeah.
So I had a real aversion to.
Luckily, you were carrying a bongo at the time. So they're all right with that.
African bongo.
Took the edge off.
Confused them.
He's like, well, this beat poet is very aggressive.
It's lucky.
Someone started a fight with me on Monday, actually. In
Really?
the street, yeah.
Like, what about?
I was in the 3 shop in Lewisham, like, looking at mobile phones. And some guy just said, "What are you fucking looking at?" He come in, he was quite a big guy.
Is he wearing a checked shirt?
He had like a puffer jacket. Like, he came in and he said, "You work here?" I went, "Nah," and I weren't like polite about it back. He was
of
quite
course.
rude. I just said no, and he went, "Oh, do you?" But he was being really loud, and then he's talking about Apple phones and Androids, and I'm listening. You know the little round thing they got the phones on. So I'm the other side, so we're quite close. And I'm just watching him talk because I was just curious because I wanted to know about it. And he just looked at me and he went, "The fuck you looking at?" And I went, but it caught me so off guard.
Yeah, of course.
I was like, it was just so embarrassing.
Yeah.
And he was like, "That blog clap fucking looking at me." And he started to just kick off.
Fuck.
And I went to him and I tried it's hard to keep you calm.
Yeah, of course.
Oh yeah, because you're
When you're on the
bubbling.
defensive a bit, I'm like, am I going to be
trying to get a new phone contract?
But then I said to him, I said, "No, I was just asking. I just tried being calm so he... I don't know, like cutting through the bullshit.
Yeah.
And I just was on it. I was just listening with what you're talking about, Android. I don't know what phone to get. I'm half changing the subject for him in being violent. And then he come round, he went, "Oh, well, you don't even..." But he's a bit off his head.
Yeah.
The way he was talking about the phone as well, he was going, "I'm going to buy it outright." Like, he's been all loud and...
Yeah.
And then he went to leave the shop just because of that, with a hump, swearing at everyone.
Yeah.
And then I like walked towards him. And I said, "Should we go outside?" And I didn't mean go outside and fight. I meant
You fucked that then.
I was embarrassed because everyone was looking
yeah.
and he's shouting at me. And and I just said, let's go outside and talk. I was just gonna I just wanted him a one-on-one.
Yeah.
That means
explain
fight,
to him.
Julian.
But he kind of just went, "Yeah," and he stood in the way of the door so I couldn't go outside. And then he's just swearing and walked off. But afterwards it was like, and then I had to go straight over to the counter.
Sorry,
and she's telling me
something wrong with my phone.
No, but then she's because I had an appointment, so I'm waiting. So they're ready just as he's finished shouting. So I went over to the counter. She's telling me all about the phones and that, and I was still there. I couldn't just switch off and just go, okay, so the tariffs, so it's unlimited data. But I couldn't go straight to her. My head was still over. I was still like shook and or like
of course.
in like fucking
Your blood
defense
is
mode.
coursing with adrenaline, and you're going, okay, 4G or 5G?
I was like pumping with adrenaline.
Fuck, you're in fight or flight trying to buy a SIM
I didn't hear a word she was
Yeah,
saying.
of course.
I didn't even buy a phone. I went home and bought one online.
Yeah.
In my peaceful
It's
house.
safer, isn't it?
With my duvet around me.
Oh, fucking man.
A little hot chocolate.
Oh man, it's funny. I can't remember the last time I had a bit of a ding dong.
It's the first time it's happened in like 20 years, probably.
I had a very small one in the co-op recently. Two things happened.
Someone
in the
was
co-op
fucking
recently.
looking at you.
I was in this phone shop and this fucking guy
Kept giving me eyeballs.
called him a blood clot. I was in the two things happened. The first thing, I'm rarely starstruck.
Yeah.
But one of the
Oh, don't worry, man. I'm a human being. I'm just like you pinched me.
it was one of the women from the Brick Lane Bagel Shop was in a co-op in Bethnal
Starstruck
Green.
with her.
I saw, but I'd never seen any of them outside
Right.
Outside
the
of
context of that bagel shop
Oh,
on Brick Lane, and
yeah.
I was like, "That's the fucking woman from the bagel
Yeah,
shop."
yeah.
And then I was so excited on my little
Get her
co-op.
autograph.
But I was
Start
like,
fanning out.
Get to sign a
Fanboy.
pack of
You
bagels.
can't walk up to a woman who hands out bagels and go, "I love your work."
Yeah, I love your work. You just gotta say thank you for what you do.
Does she make really good bagels or something?
Oh, the white and red one, not the red and yellow one. They're next door to each
Yeah,
other.
I never know which one the sort of
White and red one's my go-to.
which one's left and which one's right.
Right is white and red.
Right. I don't know. Last time I was there, I always just buy a pack of plain ones to take home.
I get salmon and cream. Well, yeah, you've got
Nice. Yeah.
issues. But I was in the co-op. It's quite a little pokey co-op near Bethnal Green, and I was just walking past, and there was two people looking at a fridge, and I couldn't get past. But I wasn't in a rush, so I just kind of stood there. I was like, I'm not gonna fucking. And then it was a couple, and quite young, and the guy was like, "Move out of the guy's fucking way."
To you?
To his girlfriend.
Oh.
And I was like,
Too right. So who was your argument with?
the bagel
So you
woman?
backed him up. Yeah, nice.
And then we just beat the shit out of her.
You weren't the man.
Then there's both their cheers,
You
man.
blood clot. And what did you say to
So
him?
I walked past because she'd moved, obviously, and then he went, "You've got a fucking mouth as well."
To you?
To me?
Yeah.
As in, why didn't you tell my girlfriend to fucking move out of the way?
People are fucking
It's
insane.
just mad, isn't it?
I was like, what the fuck?
What accent did he
All
have?
I did was be polite.
What was he?
Yeah.
Was
All
he
you-
London Cockney kind
He
of guy?
seemed like an East London kind of guy. Yeah.
The fuck is the
mad,
matter with
isn't it?
him?
Really fucking strange. And then I was at a 10 walking around co-op for the. I was
Yeah.
furious. But I was so fucking angry. It was ridiculous. Such an
Did you
insane
just
thing.
carry that anger with you and then?
Yeah, I pushed it down.
Yeah. Take out on someone in the street.
Yeah. I'm hosting tonight. I'm
Take it
gonna
on
be
the
so
guy.
mean to someone in the audience.
Take it on the guy working in the shop.
It just goes through you, man. It gets in your bones, innit? I
yeah.
called
When
a
this guy said it to me,
I
it was like surreal.
I called. I'm not proud of it. I called a guy a stupid fucking cunt out of my car window about 2 weeks ago.
Just for fun.
Like to its face, I pulled the window
You
down.
stupid fucking cunt. What if you said, I listened to the podcast?
No, but get a load of this. This is so rude,
I saw you
man.
on stage the other day. It was good.
because I use Zip cars around London, right? It's a nice car sharing scheme. I'm a big fan, right? And there was none near my house, right? The nearest one was sort of just the other side towards Cricklewood, basically. So I thought I'll just ride my bike, chain it up next to the Zip car, use the Zip car for a few hours. It was on Boxing Day actually, and then I used the Zip car all day, and then I had to drive back up to Cricklewood to park the car back in the Zip car bay, get my bike, ride home. Right, all good. I had a lovely day. I went to go and park in the Zip car bay, so I'm coming down a residential road. The parking bay's at the end on the right. As I'm about to move, like literally pull over the road to go in it, a car comes around the corner and parks in the Zip car bay. It's not a Zip car. So I said, literally, you can't park there. It's got to be a Zip car.
Space, pussy hole.
So I sort of flashed my lights, and the guy got out his passenger side and went to walk round. I opened my window and went, "Oi, mate, what are you doing?" I went, "It's a Zip car bay." And he just said something in, like, I think it was Arabic, I'm going to guess, right? From the sound of it. And then
Ali Akbar.
And then this story took a twist, man.
and then he just walked around the corner. So I was like, I didn't even get a chance to like do anything. I'm in a car that's got engines on.
Did you wait for him to come back?
Well, I sort of went, oh, fucking got to trying to find another parking space and then pull up.
I've got a spanner at your boot. Taking his wing mirrors off.
But so I thought I'll park I'll pull in, call Zip car and tell them, what do I do? I think they'll just tell me to park it somewhere.
Yeah. Don't be a pussy.
So mush him up, you rascal.
Let your hands go.
Transfer your weight off your back foot through.
Yeah. Keep your gun. Protect your chin and your ribs.
Like Mickey from the Rocky films.
But
take him down.
I went round the block, like looking for, really slowly. It took me about 4 minutes.
Looking for a gun shot.
You're on the phone going, "It's not about how hard you get it."
Watching Rocky motivation video. It's about how you get back up.
But I basically I looking for a parking space, and every space was full. Couldn't find anywhere to even pull in just to call him.
Yeah.
But I thought I'll go back round. He might have moved. Come back round, and the car's still there. I can see it. I'm about 50 yards, and as I'm driving up, I see him come back.
Ram him at 60.
I saw him coming back to the car, and so I put my foot down, drove up alongside, wound the window down, and I went, "Mate, what the fuck?" And he didn't even look at me. He just had his back to me, and I went, "You better fucking say sorry." And he turned and he opened his car door and looked at me like that. And I went, "You fucking stupid cunt." and I just lost, and he just dived into his car, started the engine, and sort of pinged off down the road.
Did you get the spot after that?
Yeah, I just parked and then had to just ride back on my bike. My fingers just digging into the handlebars.
I love that too, because you can't let it go. It's like hormonal.
I couldn't let it go, man. I wanted to call Zip
got it out of your
car.
system a bit. It's better.
There was a little bit, but it was I shouted it so aggressively at him, man.
I love that happens to, like, because you're so zen.
I know. I literally had the loveliest Boxing Day, visiting family. Our daughter was on good, like really enjoying it. I was so like, just what a lovely day. And within 4 minutes, you fucking stupid cunt. It's looking in someone's eyes and shouting that.
I've done that for years.
I felt it is liberating though, isn't it, man?
Fucking stupid guy. Bling, bling.
Just riding back. I had to like put on like fucking meditation music, man. Just try and take the edge off.
I got dried up once, man. Like this guy, it was right outside my house, and it's not a dual carriageway, but it's kind of similar anyway. I can't explain. There's two roads parallel, but they're both two-way.
Yeah.
Right? They've changed it now, but back then. And the guy, and anyway, he was pulling in front of me, and I was like, "What are you doing?" But you know when the windows are right close.
Yeah.
And I was like, "What are you doing?" He went, "What do you mean what I'm doing?" And I was like, "This is a dual carriageway." And he said, "No, it ain't." I said, "I live there. This is a..." And he went, "No, it ain't." And it weren't. And I was like, it was funny. I went, "I live here." He went, "Oh, do ya?" And I went, just back up again and just drove up. I just felt, you know, when you're all hot in your face.
Oh, God.
My face was all prickly. And
Oh, man.
I just felt so like an idiot, like he won.
Yeah. It's always, no matter, you can do all the meditation in the world, man. It's still in there. Not everyone, but I think if I used to be quite angry at the world, And
if someone doesn't say thanks where I've held the door from, I sometimes like
Kill them.
be a bit murder them and put them up, roll them up in a carpet.
Donkey punch him in the back of the head.
I'm gonna kick them right in the arse bone
for it to be a donkey punch.
I don't know.
Nut them in the back of the head.
You say potato.
That's very anti-Irish.
Sometimes like it could be sarcastic or something like.
I love it.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
And then they can't say anything. Oh, sorry, I thought you said thanks. Like, as if I meant it genuine.
I always do. Don't worry about it, mate.
Yeah, nah, you're right.
I do that every time someone gets on the tube before I've gone off.
Man.
I'm like, oh no, don't worry.
Yeah.
That's my sort of. That's where I've settled in my
Passive
and my aggressive levels. Like that sort of is very out of character to shout in someone's face. But although funny, we talked on the Patreon one about when I went to the Chelsea match. I told a story about sort of the stuff we were shouting at Chelsea fans, and somebody, Kelly, one of our patrons, replied and said it's quite funny to hear the fact normally I'm talking about veganism and meditation, all right, and then I have still got that part of my personality.
Yeah.
It is in there.
You killed. What did he kill? A woman or something?
A girl, yeah.
Oh.
But it's
Maybe that might put that in your head a bit, like you practiced a little bit doing that, and then when you're in the car.
no, I do think there is a little sort of reserve of it that I've got from my youth.
I think you need it a little bit though, don't you?
But you don't. I mean, I would like to
there
not
for
have
a reason. You can't it's there to protect us.
I know
Yeah, that fight or flight
Sometimes you
thing.
need
Yes,
it. Yeah.
but I'd like to get to a point where I don't
Control
ever
it.
lose my temper.
You just don't know who it is, you know what I mean? Because like you never know. I mean, that's a hilarious story. But if on another
People are getting
scenario, you go,
stabbed.
you fucking stupid cunt,
And he
and
pulls
he
out
just
a
fucking
fucking
pulls
bat.
out a
Comes at you
baseball
with a
bat.
knife. Yeah.
caves my head
Sorry.
in.
You're fucked. Like,
You have the spot. Do you want me to clean your car?
Doing a Zoom Patreon. I'm in a war just with like loads of tubes. And
he parked in my space.
it is. It's that thing. It's so irrational to risk getting in any altercation. But I know I've still got a little part of me that sometimes just goes, yeah. But you know, because normally I used to be quite sort of. I know I could really. If somebody did get in front of me on a tube, I would be like, "Oh fuck, what are you doing, you dickhead?" Right?
Yeah.
But I have settled in a nice sort of passive aggressive sarcasm.
I had a fight at Charing Cross Station once. We were fighting on the floor. Like we went over. There used to be a bench on the station. We went over the bench.
Oh man.
And then we got up, and I was hitting him back, and I punched him back.
Yeah.
And then the train guy come up and grabbed hold of me.
Yeah.
And tried getting us arrested and stuff. I just pulled away and just run. But it was a proper fight.
Yeah.
Like it started on the train. He just got it. It was in my face all of a sudden, just like that. And I just went, what the fuck are you looking at? I was with my mate, he was with his mate.
Yeah.
And then we both jumped off the tube and we were facing each other, like flinching like that. And then he just ran at me and we went over the bench and then just like, it was quite weak, to be honest.
Yeah.
I used to have when I was in uni.
Bust him up, you know what I mean? That man took an L that day.
Why do you think they got rid of that bench at Charing Cross, mate?
Put my name on it. They got a plaque there.
In memory
They got
of
like a chalk outline of him. In memory of the tumping. Julian W.
Who needs to watch his fucking mouth next time?
Man had eye problems. 1995.
So,
I used to do a thing in uni, and I think it's silly, but it did work a lot of the time. Basically, if someone seems
Beat the
like
shit out of people.
yeah, man, for no reason. I used to get right up in people's faces on the tube. But this, anytime anyone was like arguing with me and like kind of squaring up, and it was developing in the direction of a physical fight, I would just go
Phone the police.
cry.
That's just cry.
Suck man's dick. Just give him a nice kiss on the lips. Lick their
Cheeky little
teeth.
shiner.
I would just go hit me
Right.
because they're not emotionally ready to make it a physical fight yet.
That's a risky one.
It
is a risky
Sometimes
one.
they are.
I've seen that go wrong before.
Yeah.
Someone's like, well, hit me then. My mate George was just like, clump.
You're literally going down.
We're going to hit me. George was like, he's so like, I don't know, he's a funny guy. I saw him yesterday actually. But we were only about 13 or so. He just went clump, punched the guy. He had no kind of off switch, no overthinking.
But I remember there was one time this guy was really trying to fight me. It was Halloween. And I was in a penguin outfit. Halloween fights are the fucking funniest thing in the world.
Like a tuxedo.
No, a fucking onesie. And I had the hood up with the penguin.
Oh, an actual.
And he slapped the beak of the penguin hood, and I just took it down and went,
game over,
fucking
mate.
hit me, man. But then obviously he didn't, because he was a fucking pianist or whatever. It was at uni, it was just building full of dorks. And then we're upstairs in the smoking area, and I was telling my mate Andrew, who's also from Northern Ireland, but I was like, oh, this guy fucking tried to fight me or whatever. And the guy Andrew went, who was it? And I was like, oh, that's him over there. And Andrew went, right. Walked over to him in the smoking area, just went, oh man, can I borrow a lighter? And the guy handed him his lighter, and Andrew just fucks it down the street.
That's funny.
It just walks off.
He literally just walked away.
Just moonwalks back to you.
I was like, yeah, you fucking better run.
That's funny.
It's the furthest I've ever seen anyone throw anything. It
man.
was fucking...
What did the guy say?
The guy was like, he was like, he just didn't know what to do. And Andrew was like, don't be a dick next time. Just walk back. So funny.
Have I told it on here about my mate on the tube when somebody got too close to him? I thought I might have told it in the past.
Can't remember.
My mate Daniel used to be a liability, like proper. He had a temper on him, and he was also really like hard as well. So like, it was that thing. I think he knew he could back it up, so he'd sometimes
Kinda
get a bit carried away in knowing that he'd have a scrap essentially. And but he also he's really funny as well, and very silly and childish. But like he was on a tube, and he wears baseball caps like that, the caps like that, and he said this guy just kept sort of leaning into him a bit too much. And it wasn't even that packed, but there was somebody just was a bit unaware of their space, and they were infringing upon his they'd keep getting a bit too close to him. And he said the guy sort of leant like that, and the guy's ear was there. Like where his cap was, almost got there, and Daniel just whispered into his ear. He went, "Don't go past the peak." Just really aggressively into his ear, just like don't.
What did the guy do?
The guy shit himself. Like imagine you're sitting on a train having a laugh, and there's a guy in a cap there, and you sort of lean back, and you just hear him whisper that, "Don't go past the peak."
Oh fuck!
Fucking threatening, isn't it? It's scary.
Don't go past the peak. Don't wet the gremlins.
Feed them after midnight.
Don't feed them after midnight. That was it. Yeah.
Anyway, but we're not endorsing violence. Do not get in fights. That's the trick.
No.
You know.
I didn't like. I was quite good in the 3 shop. Like I was just talking.
That's quite calm.
But I was adrenaline. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
But
I have like little fantasies when I'm on the bus. I sit in specific seats, so if like a guy with a knife is like taking on the whole bus, I have like
I'm gonna get stabbed and die first.
throw a buggy at him. Sit behind a weak woman.
I have fantasies of me like swinging around the banisters and like boot him in the face. And, like,
I do have hero fantasies.
Yeah, of course.
All
Everyone.
the time.
Every person has
a guy
those.
with a machete. Like
I don't think women have that.
No,
I'd say it's more. Yeah, it's true. I think. It's more. It is more of a sort of. It's that. It is that thing if you just feel
There's
like
something about like I'd love someone to just try and fight me.
Yeah.
I would never start a fight. I would never do that.
but you have to.
But at some days, I'm just in a mood where like I hope someone just
hope someone fights me who can't fight.
Exactly.
that's it.
That's
It's all
what you
There's a
want.
lot of caveats.
I hope they're big, but they're rubbish.
When
So it looks good.
I used to be a goalkeeper.
They got no cardio.
I used to be a goalkeeper in football, and I used to think, I hope someone does a really piss easy shot to the top corner.
Of course.
So it looks class.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I dive and tip it past the post. But it was
Definitely.
actually, that's what you want. You want some absolute nerd.
You want something that looks like a good YouTube video, innit?
Yeah.
You just like proper ducking,
Yeah,
weaving.
yeah,
He's just slow and rubbing.
And when you post it, just speed it up a bit.
Yeah. And you've come out of it, and the poor guy was probably like sort of pissed and like didn't know what was going on. But you look cool.
Just out him with one punch.
None of it's worth it.
No,
everyone,
no.
violence is always
Just
not
watch
the
them.
answer.
Join a
Do you
boxing
know what? You win
gym.
every fight that you don't take part in. Yeah.
But also, don't be a fucking pussy.
unless the ones you lose.
But
that's what I always think. Like some people, like, were you looking at, like, not now, but years ago, you're like, if you want to fight that bad, just join a boxing gym or something.
Yeah.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a hard question to answer. What are you looking at? Because if you were looking at them, the answer is, well, I was actually looking at you.
Yeah.
But like,
well, you're often just zoned out. I just dissociate, and then someone.
I was looking at him, but he was obviously like volatile and like ready to go.
It's the moment anyone who says, "What are you looking at?" wants to have a fight.
Yeah.
There's a lot of TikTok.
No one's ever said, "What are you looking at?" and they've gone, "You," and you're like, "Oh, cool. How do I look?"
I just wonder.
What do you think of this jumper?
Well, there's a TikTok.
You got nice eyes.
There's a TikTok trend at the minute of like young American guys, and there's like an old like kind of Republican guy, like kind of redneck guy, and they'll be like, "Yo, bro, you look fucking handsome today."
Yeah, it's
and
so
they
funny.
Freak out.
Oh, really?
Like, what'd you fucking say? Like,
What you fucking say to me?
It's wild.
So funny.
Really?
They'll kick the fuck
They'll
off.
say
So
some
weird.
the filthy like
Imagine being that
innuendo to
insecure.
them, won't
Yeah,
they?
like a pickup line, basically like, "Yo, you got the fries to go with that shake?"
Yeah. They're like, "What'd you fucking say?"
You fucking gay, bro?
Yeah. They freak out.
That's sort of weird, like not being able to take any. It's like I always think the similar sort of guys would be the sort of guys that have those gender reveal parties for their kid, like when their wife's pregnant,
and then it's pink.
and it's blue. It's pink, and they look disappointed.
No, but some of them like not even just like look. Some of them are like will let it out and be like, "Fuck's sakes, my child's gonna have tits."
Yeah.
What the fuck are you doing?
It's like, no, it's mad. And when it's like a blue balloon or something, they fucking like,
Yeah.
Like, what is just, mate?
So
Little soldier.
Yeah. You need to have some therapy. Sort out your relationship with your own dad.
Or I'll fucking knock you out.
You fucking say.
You fucking pussy out. Let my hands go.
Oh man.
It's not about
I sent that to somebody today.
The motivational speech.
Yeah, the Rocky one.
I remember
They
sending
were
it around the
feeling a bit
WhatsApp
down.
group on the first day of Edinburgh once. So
Yeah.
That's so
It's quality.
Yeah.
That's great.
Anyway, let's wrap up today's fight talk.
The Fight Talk podcast.
When we consider we was talking about orchestras 25 minutes ago or something, it really took a left field turn.
I liked it.
That is the end of the podcast. What shall we plug? You do a podcast.
Vittorio's
stand-up.
podcast, which you were on.
I have been on it.
recently.
It's lovely. It's a good chat.
It's just called Vittorio's podcast. But probably the best way to find me is just Vittorio Angelone on Instagram.
Instagram. You put a lot of videos. You put a lot of content.
A lot of clips.
A lot of clips of
podcast
stand up.
clips,
Very
all
good at that.
stuff. It's because I know the industry will. They don't want me.
We want you, man.
So yeah, people can check that out.
Because they keep trying to fight all the agents.
That's it. All
Getting
this
their
sort of
face-
violent.
Keeps
very
throwing their
violent
lighters
man.
across the room.
And people can just share this if they like it.
Oh, this is a fucking brilliant podcast.
Oh, cheers.
I mean, people who are at this, they've listened to an hour of it. I'm plugging the podcast that they've just listened to.
Yeah.
for now.
Yeah.
But if you're just here for me, listen to all the other
But do
episodes. It's fucking
share it
great.
with your friends and family.
And,
This episode,
YouTube.
pretend it with anyone who likes a ding dong.
You can see my shiny face on youtube.com/wearetv.
Say .com.
.com.
Dot fucking claw.
We don't do .coms.
On the dark web. And
Silk
Patreon.
Road.
There's extra stuff on Patreon if you want to sign up there. There's loads of back catalogue on Patreon is massive now. This shit out like probably fucking
People are just
80
joining. They're
hours of
just going
stuff.
through it.
Yeah, so but
Weirdos.
once you are up to date, obviously it does slow down. So basically, want that
It's
once a
longer
week.
than The Sopranos.
Yeah, it probably is.
I'm better.
And
better.
I don't know. Let's not get into that.
Better.
At least
More
we don't,
fighting.
At least we don't die at the end.
Yeah. What?
Spoilers.
Oh fuck! I haven't seen it. You fucking.
That's not true. I've not seen it.
Anyway,
Man.
right.
Bruce
Thanks.
Willis is a ghost. What?
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Love you all.
Love you all. Bye.
That's a wrap.